Hi, my name is Chad, and today I'm going to be speaking to you a little bit about fishing. Now, we are going to be talking about fishing, but I'm not going to do it in that tone because I would fall asleep doing that. So, big thing I want to talk to you about today is going to be it's a bait that everyone uses. It's literally a bait that almost every bass fisherman uses, and they should have in their arsenal so they can pull it out. Because I always say, when it gets tough, when fishing gets tough, what do? I put on a Senko. Because you can't go wrong. You can work that on the top. You can jerk on the top. You can let it free fall, slowly fall. You can add a little weight to it so it falls a little bit faster. You can wacky rig it. But that bait is one of the most versatile baits, and it'll normally outfish, or in this area anyway, in Pennsylvania, that'll outfish most baits that people are throwing. I mean, not live bait. Most likely live bait will always come out on top. But I mean, you put it next to, unless you're talking like pre-spawn, you put it next to a spinnerbait, buzzbait, crankbait. This will usually come out on top, depending on the situation. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if you're in 15 feet of water in the middle of the lake, I wouldn't throw a Senko. But some may even do that. All right, but I want to make this quick. I'm not going to turn it into a big thing, but it's pretty much just how to use a Senko. All right, a couple of different ways. First off, I want to start off by saying I keep my Senko box pretty simple. I don't have any like crazy off the wall colors, but I stick to my watermelons, watermelon reds, red shads, I have some chartreuse. What I really try to do with all my baits is have dark colors and light colors. I don't really get all into different kinds of colors. I used to. I don't anymore, because really that's all you need. It's a dark and a light. If you can't catch them with that bait, with one or the other, depending on the water clarity, time of day, type of weather, things like that, you may have to switch your bait or switch to a different routine. But that's my box. That's my box. These are my darker colors: watermelon reds, chartreuse, June bugs, also darker colors, pumpkin, baby bass. Those work well also. That's what I stick to. All right. So the first way to do this, easiest way if you're fishing pads. Okay, fishing pads or heavy vegetation. Weedless, just literally weedless. Easy as it gets. Once I get the right size, here it is. Alright, so I use an offset wide gap. Okay, offset wide gap. I hope that's on the camera. What you do, let me use a brighter color. It'll work better with a brighter color. Alright, so some brands have a slit on the Senko, okay? They have it exposed. What you want to do is poke the hole of the hook out the opposite side of the slit. Alright, so what I do, however long your shank is, so this is a pretty long shank, that's probably close to a ½ inch. So I'll go down a little longer than that on the opposite side. So ready? So I want this to come out the white side because the slit is on the chartreuse side. So I go down a little over ½ inch, and then I pull it through. Alright, see that? On ½ inch, pull it through, put it all the way down. All the way down. Bingo bongo. Alright, then you're left with this. Alright, you have the shanks now covered. You have the hook here. Well, guess what? That's why this is weedless. When you have that slit, then you slide the hook through the white part, and it comes out through that slit. Okay? I keep saying slit. It's like, it's just a weird word. Should I use slot? Maybe slot. Yeah, let's go with slot. Maybe I'll mix it up. Maybe I'll do a little bit of slit, a little bit of slot. Either way. So, then it comes out like that. Alright? If you're using a worm that doesn't have that, okay, just a quick tip, what I like to do when I'm fishing the weeds. Where's one? Okay, so this one doesn't have that, okay? So same thing, you do the same exact thing, you put it on the same way, you go down cover the shank of the hook, however far you have to, push it through, pull it through, and then you stick it through. But when you don't have the slit slot, I try to tuck my hook. So see how the hook's out there? What I'll do is I'll pull up here, pull up towards the head, go above the hook point, and let it slide down. So now that hook point's not even sticking out. So the great thing about these, the hook's not going to get caught. 9 times out of 10 you're not throwing this with a weight. So when you're fishing weeds, what's it going to get hooked up on? Nothing, besides the fish's lip. That's what we do, we rip the lips. You can, okay, so when you have it hooked like that, I'm going to quick go over this. When you have it hooked like that, alright, you can cast it out. I usually let it sink to the bottom. I wait till my line goes out. I even leave a little bit of slack. I actually have a video somewhere and it shows me doing that and explaining it, so I'll plug that in there. I'll actually fill it in right here. Here it is.
With most baits, I always try to keep a pretty tight line. With Senkos, I leave it a little bit slacked. And the reason for that is there's no weight really to get that to the bottom, except for the weight of the bait. So I want it to kind of fall straight down. I don't want it to fall on an angle. So I leave a little bit of slack until it gets to the bottom. So it's crucial you pay attention to your line. Not really, you're not going to feel it, but you have to watch, see what your line does. It's either, you're not going to see, it's going to fall real slow, so you'll see it come out slow. You got to look for little twitches, things that aren't normal.
The other way you can do it, you can work it fast. So you can cast it out and just jerk it on the top. So you can, I guess I keep my rod lower when I'm doing it. I don't even remember how I do it, to be honest with you. I feel like I do keep it lower and I jerk it real fast. This looks, now I'm talking about jerking it real fast. Alright. Yeah, you guys get the idea, just like that. Okay. Really jerk, really jerk. And when it goes, it actually like twitches side to side, cuts through. It looks awesome. That's the way to use it if you want to work it fast. All right. The other way, bingo bongo. I'll show you how to do it. Ready?
Rigging wacky style. You don't have to use a wacky rig like this. The reason I do, which I didn't used to, but the reason I started doing it, is for exactly what just happened to me. If you get hooked up, like if you get caught on something, that plastic is so soft on the bait itself, it's gonna rip right through the hook. So I mean, these, it's not something you have to use, but you're gonna save baits if you use it. You won't go through as many baits if you're getting hung up. So then once you get the ring on there, I'll go right through. I get a little bit of plastic in there, but here, if it pulls, it's not going to fall off. And everyone has a different preference of where they rig it. Trust me, we heard stories on stories of it's all about where you rig it wacky, and it's probably not going to make a difference. I mean, if a fish is hungry and that's the style bait he's looking for, I don't think he gives a shit where the hook is through the damn worm, to be honest with you.
One thing I always like to do when I'm rigging it wacky, it may not make a difference, but in my mind, anytime you pick up a fish, if you get your fish, alright, you've seen a fish, the bottom of the fish is white. Alright, usually the top has the color, the bottom is the lighter color. So anytime I'm using a Senko, whether it has the slit or not, I put the lighter color on the bottom, darker color on the top. Like I said, does it make a difference? I don't know, probably never will know. But it just makes sense to me logically that that's how the fish in the water are. I'm trying to mimic that. So that's what I do. Alright. This rig works pretty good. Now when you're using this, I still let it sink to the bottom and it has the same action drifting down, but then when you twitch it, it bends. It does this. And it's like, oh snap, look at this. Right? Oh. Fish, why wouldn't they want that? Like, are you kidding me? So I mean, that freaking kills them too. So you just twitch it once in a while and the little arms just do a little thing. Alright? That works. Works very well. Little trick no one knows. I'm sure people know it actually. It's not really a secret. But I have a part in my terminal tackle box that has toothpicks and nails. Why would you have toothpicks and nails? I'll tell you why. Toothpicks has nothing to do with this topic. It's if you want to peg your Texas rig weight, which I'll do a video on that maybe another day. The nails, I look at this as a hidden weight. If I need this, so there's a place we fish called Ranger Lake, alright? Big cliffs, water goes down to like 80 feet. 50 feet is usually what you're fishing, 50 to 30 feet, usually. Some spots 20. But I don't have all day for this to sink. So what I do is you put a nail right on the top, just like this, right in the front. This weight doesn't get in the way at all. You can barely even see it. It's wacky, so it's not in the way of the hook. I don't think I said wacky right this whole video. Like, I always have to correct myself. But anyway, right in the top. Alright. So, now, it's going to fall head first. Alright, so now it is going to fall a little different than it would have. So, when that's falling, alright, if you twitch it, it's going to look like a struggling bait, because it's going head first and all of a sudden it's going to bend. Alright, so that's what a fish wants to see, something struggling. They go for the easiest target. If it looks a little different, that's what they want. So that's a way of, if you don't feel like putting a weight on, like because it's too bulky, or you don't feel like retying. I personally like it, especially if I'm fishing weedless too. So if I have a weedless rig, like a Texas rig, you can still do this, but you just can't put it up top. I'll slide it in. I'll slide it in the middle, in between the gap. So when you got your gap, rig it the same way I told you to rig it, right? And then here's the front of the worm, here's the hook. I will stick a nail in there. I just started doing this recently. I like the idea of not having the weight out to get snagged on something, or to get weeds, or just to be in the way. I mean, I'm sure fish, some do, some don't, depending on how finicky they are though. There's a big giant silver ball coming at them as a weight. They're not gonna hit that. Sometimes they will, actually most of the time they will, but if they're finicky and it's a day where you need to add that little bit of extra finesse, try that, because it gets the job done. I very rarely do it for Senkos. I mean, I do in some situations. I usually do it for finesse worms. Senkos are pretty heavy, and the whole point of them, why they work so well, is they do fall slow. So if the fish are not attacking baits like out of reaction, or just out of anger or aggression, and you need it to kind of stay in front of them a little bit longer, these are the baits to go with, guys. I'm telling you. You can't beat a Senko. This year is the year I threw everything out this year. I used to, last year, all the other, I threw Senkos. Alright, this year I was like, Chad, you need to try other things. People are throwing spinner baits and jigs and tubes and crankbaits, and they're killing them. I'm watching all these videos, they're killing them. Yeah, they are. You know what I noticed? And I was just talking to Todd about this the other day. You're not killing them on that stuff in PA. You will catch them. Don't get me wrong. Like, they will work at Naka-Mixon and Beltsville, and at Leaser, honestly, I never really had any luck with them. I caught a muskie on a spinnerbait there, but no bass. They will work. But the style of fishing, I feel like in Pennsylvania, is different than it is going to be down south. The fish in down south are constantly growing. They will hit those fast-moving baits. Here, I feel like finesse fishing is the way to go. I mean, rubber worms, or you're throwing a Senko, even a tube. Throw tubes, jelly worms, trick worms, things like that seem to just work better. And I'll tell you, this summer I threw this was a last resort for me. And that's when I came with the saying, if all else fails, throw a Senko, because it's probably gonna freaking work. Once you tone down which rig you want to go with, if there's no weeds, I will usually opt wacky style. All right. If there are weeds, I'll go with just the weedless rig that I showed you guys. Very rare, like I said, I'll put a nail in it, and that's if I want my bait to fall faster or I want it to fall in a different way. The only thing I want to touch on when I'm picking the color of the Senko, I went into this briefly, and this goes for anything. If I'm fishing dark water, like murky water, I go with the darker color. Even if it has that like green tint, I go with the darker color. If I'm fishing clearer water or the green tint, that green tint, that can go either way. You can literally get away with anything in that type of water. You can. But if I'm fishing clearer water, that's when I want to offer my watermelon red. Even though watermelon red works, that's one of those colors that works everywhere too. So color, try not to focus much on color, but focus on the presentation. What is your bait doing? How do you have it rigged? Try to focus on that. But if all else fails, I mean, stick to the main thing I just said. Clear water, you want to go with your lighter colors. Dark water, you go with darker colors. I know it sounds contradicting. However, the contrast with the way the bass's eyes work, the contrast with the sun hitting the water, this dark color is going to show up better in darker water than the light color. I think I covered everything to know about Senkos. I'm sure I missed something though. I'm sure I did, because I just winged this. Alright? But I hope you learned something. If you have any other ways to do it, I would love to hear it. I mean, comment below. Let us know if you try any of these, how it's working, which is your best way. When do you use these rigs? Which one do you use in certain situations? But please subscribe. We're up to 55 subscribers as of today. I haven't posted videos in a while. I've been fishing. I just haven't caught enough or felt that I've done anything incredibly enough to post a video. But I was like, I need to post. It's been like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't even know. I need to post. So I'm going to start doing some tip videos for now. Hunting season starts Saturday, so you'll be seeing some hunting videos up on the tube. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I'm done with my whole shebang on Senkos. Please subscribe. Follow on Instagram, Rippin' Lips PA. Follow on Facebook, Rippin' Lips PA. Love to hear from you. Deuces. Deuces. And I'm out. And I'm out.